Hi guys, I'm Boman Irani. Hello everybody. Are you all here with us? Can I have a hand raise show to tell me how many members are Della members today? Very good. Everybody out here. Superb. How many of you are first generation entrepreneurs? Hey, you can put your hand up. And how many of you have a family business where you're inheriting the business? Trust me. So, starting point, as a forum, right? Each one is going to learn from the other. And there are people in various stages in life. Let me tell you what I understand. In the old Indian world, or in the old world, you had lots of brothers and sisters who always looked out for you. There was a family. They worked in a particular fashion. But in the new world with nuclear families, one or two members itself, each one growing and growing apart. Imagine you create this environment, right? Where you have a whole host of people. When I say brothers, please take it loosely. Brothers, people, friends, or people who are peers, basically. Someone who stands with you, coming together in what is a created space. A comfortable created space where you can talk what's on your mind. You are trained, or you are educated, or you're structured to be able to kind of communicate that in the most sensible way. Sometimes you just meander and just keep talking. When a friend is listening, you're over 2 drinks and you just keep going on rambling. This training that takes place, I'm sure you're going to have forum trainings, right? You're going to be able to be trained in how to communicate a point that is bothering you. And that communication, again, before you communicate it, there'll be someone in your forum who will train you, because you've got so many things in your mind, right? But this guy will ask you objective, what is it you're trying to get out of this issue? Let me give you an example. You want to rant about a partner of yours. Business partner, life partner, whoever, right? So the guy will actually ask you a question, okay, what is the issue? So say nothing, I believe that my partner is not giving us enough time or energy or whatever it is that you're looking for. Then you say, okay, what's your expectation out of it, right? And then he'll ask you a question like, give me 3 or 4 events that lead you to believe this, right? So you're getting structured as you are about to go out there and speak to a group of peers. And I'm not telling you enough about the group of peers because I think you've understood a lot about it already with the presentation made by my 3 buddies out here. The point I'm trying to say is, before you go out there in a structured manner in the 10 or 15 minutes, you will find yourself with clarity of thought communicating exactly what you want to get out of it. Because you've just been coached. We all know how important coaches are, right? Whether it's sports, whether it's business, we all have our coaches. So you're being coached just before you've gone out there to this tight, diverse, multi-talented, multiple views, multiple experiences. When you have 9 or 10 people, each one has been through his own life journey and each one has had his own experiences. And as we know from the Osho, there is no right and there is no wrong. It's just a matter of perspective or the time and space in which you are. I'll give you a little theory about that, but coming back, at that point of time when you're saying things, you're communicating your issue clearly, after which there'll be a Q&A, right? To get more perspective or get more information on what you've just spoken. In those questions, the questionnaire or the person in your group would lead you on to dive deeper and give more depth or knowledge about what it is you are talking, because you are saying it from your point of understanding. Imagine reading if you're a non-techie guy and you're reading a tech ad, COBOL, this, that, and the other, you don't understand nothing about it. So the guy is dwelling deeper and asking you a simple question. Tell me about the last instance, or where exactly this happened. Stuff as simple as that. That'll get you giving a little more information about what you're imagining. Finally, you will be given points of view or shared experiences. What happened when that particular person was in a similar situation, whether he himself was, his brother was, his father was, his mother was, first-hand experiences, not rubbish, I've read this in a book, right? It is my mindset. It is my understanding. It is my feedback to you. You know what's the best part about all of this? You don't have to take anything of it. And nobody's going to feel bad. Sometimes a friend gives an advice, he says, "Tero bola tha, you didn't do it." Nobody is going to ever come back to you and say, "Hell, you didn't listen to me." It's your life. It's your judgment. Here's just a whole set of views that I've opened up for you with the 9 or 10 experience sharings that took place. Now there's a further. You can decide to keep this Attila the Hun, as they say it, absolutely secret. After this session ends, we will never speak about this. Never, ever. You have no right to come back and ask me about the issue that we spoke about. I want to end it now. That's Attila the Hun. I will get what I want and it's over. Then there's Attila's sister, where you can, and Attila the Hun obviously means that you cannot breathe about it to anybody. You cannot go back home and even tell your wife or your partner. The point is, Attila's sister says that you can talk about it whenever you want with the other person, right? So, hey, I'll come back to you about this. This is Attila's sister. And I'll come back to you when I want to come back to you. You cannot come back to me, right? So, it's very helpful so that if you have, let's say I like one particular point of view, I'll say, hey, this is Attila's sister. This still means that I will come and talk to you. And you will have various other terms. I'm sure, Jimmy, not everybody needs to follow Attila the Hun and Attila's sister. But the point is, I will come back to Kaushal's view, or I'll come back to Jimmy's view, or I'll come back to you, right? Now, the other thing that, as a forum officer, I saw, and everybody spoke about, it's very difficult to stand up there and say, hey, I'm happy with this bunch of people that I've just met. Mumbai is a small place. You'll know most of the people, maybe not as dearly as you would once you're in forum, but people find it difficult to get into forum, okay? And they say, oh, I've got such a large family. I've got these people, my dadas, my chachas, everybody gives me advice. I don't need more advice. So it's not advice, right? You are there to express yourself. So it's very simple. We start off with the icebreaker, right? An icebreaker could be something as simple as to get into the mood of forum, right? So you just start off with an icebreaker. That is something as simple as, imagine this, you're a train driver. You're on a train. Now suddenly there's a fork in the trains, right? One side, there are 5, people. On the other side, there's an entire dead wall. So would you kill those people or would you go and kill yourself? It's got nothing to do with whether you do this or that. It's just to get you in the mood. It's just to get you thinking. It's just to get you started. It's just to give you the point of view that there will be opinions. And through that opinions, if there is a moderator, there will be a moderator in the forum, he will pick up, he will sense. You're trained to feel how the other person is feeling. So if someone comes up with, no, I'd much rather kill myself, right? That's a giveaway that something's wrong, right? Someone comes back and says, I'll pull the brakes hard. Nobody told you there's no brakes out there, right? No one said there's no horn to toot. No one said all of that. It's just how you're thinking at that point of time is expressed by you. So the guy who is asking this question is also responsible to kind of pick up in that group what is not being said. It's more important, as we all know, in a conversation to hear for what has not been said. And from there, pick up the train and say, hey, listen, I pick this up, I sense it, right? Or bring up a conversation that could help it. And believe you me, no amount of stuff that I'm talking about right now will give you the feel. It's like swimming, right? I can keep telling you, you can do it this way, this is what you got to do, but you got to be in the water for that. You got to experience forum. And if there is one thing that I will never give up, is forum. I personally, when we started off on the YPO journey, I enjoyed the entire process, this, that, and the other. Then I got into forum. And first forum was a lot of fun. They brought me in nicely, etc. Second time onwards, somebody gave a presentation, right? And you are shocked out of your skull that someone can talk to you like this. But then you are also trained with Attila the Hun. You're also trained to never ever talk about. What that did to me was started me thinking that, dude, life is like this. It could happen to anybody, right? I have no experience about this. I don't need to tell the guy, hey, this is prescriptive advice. I just stayed shut. I said, listen, I have nothing to say to you, but I feel for you and I'm available to you at any point of time. Should you just want a shoulder to be with you, another person to just come and sit with you, I'm available. That itself is very, very important to offer to yourselves as an opportunity and to, let's say, the other person who you're offering it to. You do not need to be the smartest man in the room. You do not need to have advice for every situation. You do not even need to have, let's say, the experience yourself. All you need to do is tell the other person, I'm with you. But what that does to you is it starts you thinking that the world is such a big place or such a crazy place where everything could be happening and you don't have any idea. And you spoke about diversity, right? So my forum has someone who's 62, he's a grandpa, okay, with 3 grandkids. And in my forum, there's a 40-year-old, and we went and partied hard on his 40th year. And in between, we have billionaires, we have people who are startups, we have people who failed, right? And we have people who have got a regular job, etc., right? So the entire spectrum is available. How does a person who's in a regulated work environment think? And why is that important to me? Right? How does a billionaire think? And how is that important to me? How does someone who's starting off think? And how is that important to me? I take your point about selfishness. How is that important to me? Right? And how is it that failure feels? And what is it that that person is going through at that point in time in life? How is that important to me? Because nobody told me I'm going to be a success every single time. I'm going to go through failures too. And here's someone out there who's failed and who's talking about it. It's not only important I kind of give him my experiences, what I did in a difficult legal situation or a difficult financial situation, or who are the people I could reach out to, because that information is going to come to you like flying through, right? If someone comes to me and says, hey, listen, my business, startup, I need to raise money. Hey, here's my Rolodex. All these people are available. That's okay. But at that point of time, I'm also picking up, how does a startup think? How flexible they are, right? You notice, right? In a big business, you become a little bit this way or the highway. I've done it right. I know better. But imagine being in a forum. You're able to kind of pick up that this startup has a chance of disrupting everything that you've been thinking about, right? And various businesses. That's another thing. There are people who are in businesses that are, let's say, FMCG. There are some people who are in businesses that are SaaS. There are some people who are in businesses as boring as mine, real estate, right? You have that entire diversity out there also. Then you have, cultures. You have food choices. One of the best things that I enjoy about a retreat, Jimmy, is I am not even a person who kind of would remember the name of a restaurant after I've eaten out there. But because of that entire group out there, I have seen more places. I have experienced more cuisine. I have experienced more experiences itself, right? Something as simple as skydiving. I don't think I'd ever go skydiving, but we are going to go, right? The point I'm trying to make is each one adds value to you and each one gets value from you. And this is not going to happen in your workplace. One business coach told me, we all need coaches, right? One business coach told me that I was getting too busy with my business to understand my business itself. No, it's a fact. What he told me is you have no clue about what's happening in other businesses or how other businesses are operating. You're a real estate guy. If you know how retail works, if you know how flexible spaces work, if you know how businesses, other than yours work and what kind of spaces they need, you'll start understanding a lot more. He said, once in 15 days, take a break. I happen to be a little workaholic. Take a break. Don't do any work. Get out there and, buy lunch for somebody, buy coffee for somebody, buy a dinner for somebody, and just hear them talk. Right? Now that's rambling. It is the right way, but it's not structured enough for me to be able to take back enough value. So now I do the same thing. I go to my forum, and when I hear the updates, I'm actually picking up how this business is doing, what it could do to my industry, how somebody else is coming in from, another state, another city. One of the big problems we face is that, Mumbai, at one point in time, the commercial capital may be losing value. Which are the other places that are gaining it? So someone who's in the textile business, someone who's in the pharma business, someone in the finance business is telling me what exactly they are thinking. Where is the talent? What is that talent looking for? I am supposed to pick up from this beautifully rich conversation what exactly I want. And I'm not even dwelling right now into all those issues about what happens to you when you die, etc., because they will take you through enough and more. And I think you're having enough knowledge sessions also about it. You can always invite speakers and trainers and whatever else that you have. But basically, you need to be in that moment, getting the most out of that particular room. And believe you me, it has added so much value in the way I think. I've got a much broader perspective in life. I have a totally agile mind in the way I think when a problem faces me. I know I can go back, I can call for an emergency meeting if there's a life and death situation. All I need to do is say, hey, listen, emergency meeting. So if everybody is not available, those that can join online will join online. I know that each one of them, like a board would, may make that room empty and be there only for me at that point of time. And a half an hour session could kind of give me so much more clarity, which would then allow me to reach out to those pertinent people in that group or addressed by those groups to be able to sort my problem. And just recently we went in for an IPO. I cannot tell you how much I did not know, right? And how much I could count on my forum members who were ahead of the curve than me, right? I cannot tell you how much value I add to somebody who's looking for, let's say, views on something as simple as, what his or her children need to do when they're younger than mine, right? What are the things that they've been through? And I'm sure each one of us, have children who go through a lot of issues. It is something that you don't normally speak about. But a forum member will pick it up and will talk to you about his own children or her own children and what they've done in that case. The last thing I will leave you with is that none of your friends normally are keeping you accountable. But trust me, if I tell my forum that my goal is A, right? They'll ask me how are the steps that you're going to achieve it. If I give a month-wise breakup, every month I'll get a reminder, did I achieve something? Accountability is so huge. You are pushed to achieve your goals. Please tell me how many people in the world would do this for you. And most important, I think what Jimmy said is they are not getting any commercial value out of you. Their only value out of you is you and your benefit out of that. And of course, in turn, theirs over a period of time. So guys, I can keep saying, I can keep talking about this, but if there is one thing I'd tell you all, jump headfirst into forum. You will love it. Otherwise, take my number. Anyone who doesn't enjoy forum, please reach out to me and I'll tell you that maybe it is just a mix of the forum that is not right, which won't happen. Because more often, and again, sorry, one caveat. Forums are capable of growing and members growing out of forum, which is okay. It is absolutely acceptable. I've been in a forum now for the past 16 years. We've had 6 members move on because they moved to another geography, because they changed their business, because they just got tired of it, or they just needed a sabbatical. But I've had 6 new people come in who brought in new energy, who brought in new ideas. So I stand to gain so much more, right? So it's absolutely acceptable. But I would like to say this, that keep a long-term commitment like I do, and like Kaushal says, be faithful to your forum and be faithful always in life, and try and keep that going for the long term. At least in your mind, keep it for the long term. You will benefit a lot, guys. Any questions? So let me do this in this way, right? Tell me what worries you if you were to join a forum. What could be the thing that could possibly go wrong? I'm not asking for an answer right now. I'm saying think about it, right? Second, everything that we've mentioned, write down the 4 or 5 things that you really believed could add value to you, right? 3, name down 6 or 8 or 10 friends of yours who you go to in a very structured manner, where all of you all meet and that's when you all speak, rather than, hey, I pick up the phone and spoke to her or him and I got this point of view. You will get, you'll not get a concentrated, effort-driven response to your issue till such time as it's all done together in a structured fashion where you're coached for it, and the responses you get, you don't really have to ever answer anybody back whether I took your answer, whether I took your view or not, right? I worry about asking a friend for advice because he will give advice. But I never feel bad about asking my forum or sharing my experience with forum because A, there's no advice. And if you say don't want accountability, nobody's going to call you up and say, hey, did you do it? Unless you ask for it. You say, check with me every week or check with me every month. You're never going to have to worry about it. It's a big weight off your shoulders. But you've still got all the views right there. Della will talk more in one-on-ones, but definitely will get you into forum. Yes, you had a...
Yeah, so typically I think most of the men here would agree that men do not open up without taking at least 2 pegs. So, how do we handle this? How do we, like there's a joke that, men become emotional, start talking too much after taking alcohol. So alcohol has female hormones. So, how do we handle this in forums?
So, I think, how do I run 100 meters, right? And do it in a particular time? It all takes training. I mean, what I just mentioned to you, an icebreaker, right? If I asked you that question and we were in a closed room and you literally had to think, if I imagine I asked you a question tomorrow morning, you could get this pill, which will keep you alive forever. Would you take it? Now, within the next 1 minute, you have to think about it and do it, right? It starts you thinking, right? That thinking allows you to first engage in that room, and that thinking or that conversation in that room will give you a pick on what everybody is saying. So that is why there's a process. That is why there are trained minds bigger than, at least psychologically bigger than you and I, that have worked these things out, right? We were privy to Dr. Robert Waldinger, who spoke about happiness, 75 years, is that the other in learning about happiness with Harvard, same set of people, etc., etc. Trust me, some of the things he said gave me great views on how one has to train themselves for being happy. Like Jimmy said, we're not trained for happiness, right? So how do you train yourself for happiness? Similarly, to engage with you or to get you engaged with me or get you engaged in that tight group, you have so many confidentiality exercises. It's like nobody's going to throw you straight in the hot water or straight into the deep end of the pool. You're going to be allowed to dip your legs. You're going to be allowed to sit there and bottle your legs. You're going to slowly be weaned in. Now you'll never know it till you get there. It's like running, right? How do I dash this 100 meters? It won't happen on day one, but it will happen as long as you want it to happen. So you've got to believe in the process. Everything starts with belief. You've got to believe in the process. You've got to take the fact that there are so many hundreds of people, without taking names, but all those big business leaders that you'll read about every morning in the Economic Times, I've had the pleasure of knowing that they're in some forum or the other. And I've had the pleasure of interacting with them and they giving me the same views that I stand here today to give you. That you will create a group of people who are invested in you for your benefit and you're invested in them for their benefit, and there is no commercial gain. As a matter of fact, there's a rule. Within a forum, you don't do business. Because you could screw up, right? And if you screw up, then who are you going to go and tell? Or you can engage in a business with the, knowledge of the entire forum. They will give you the entire view. Look, if something goes wrong, what is the resolution? So it's like your board of advisors, if I may say. Before you jump in over there, they'll tell you, look, these are the things that could go wrong. These are pitfalls. Business out of friendship or friendship out of business. What do you want? So it's a step-by-step immersive process. You will get there. Take it from me. Believe it. We've all been there. 16 years now. I've been a great forum advocate.
16 years is a real long time for a forum. Everybody talks about sharing experiences, good things. Does forum fights? Does there is an argument, heated debates, or whatever in terms of 8-9 people, and how does that work in forums?
Okay. So you could do business in forum and then have a fight. So I think one of you all touched upon it, that in a forum, generally we choose people who are not from the same family, brother-in-law, co-brother-in-law, etc. We try to keep that away. We try to keep the business totally separate. One real estate, one logistics, one textile, one pharma. We try to create diversity in age and in gender, right? So various experiences across. But having said that, there is definitely sometimes very strong points of view. But as you would have it, there's a decorum, right? And there is again an established process by which you will address the issue. And again, there have been cases where moderators have to do a very tough thing. Of course, they reach out to the regional officers, etc. They get their views, but have to ask one of the people to leave the forum. If there's a breach of trust, yes, they will ask that person to leave the forum, right? But the basic tenet is, I would believe that the people that I'm dealing with could make a mistake. They are not generally trying to do you harm. Now, if you find a absolute rotten apple and then that person is really trying to do you harm, God bless you, throw him out of your entire chapter altogether. And that is also done. We have to take some very tough decisions as leaders, like Jimmy would have to when he's leading this whole thing, or your regional officers would, or your forum officers would. It's all tough decisions. But yes, there have been cases, it's recorded. Those recordings are then used as training for how the future forums would resolve issues. And yes, we've asked people to leave. I can give you an example without naming names. Somebody got into a chapter without giving the 100% honest truth. And so let's say I was the person who was initiating him. I came to know, right? And I addressed it I came to know after a year and a half, but it was brought to my attention. I was no longer the forum officer at that or the chapter officer at that point in time. I went back up to the chapter officer and said, this is what's happened. This has come to my knowledge. How do I deal with it? The two of us or the board sat together, called that particular person and said, look, A, proof, yes or no, or is it like wrongly done? He said, yes, it is, right? He had to. What do we do with you, right? It's not like we want to shame you or. So he said, look, I'll just say that I have to leave because of whatever. Can I go? So it was nothing heinous. It was nothing that he had murdered somebody. It was just that the data that was provided by him was not the right data, and he had used, let's say, a forged way of getting in. And you don't take that, right? Because if you're not true at the start, you're never going to be true till the end. It's like that. So we're all very trained to understand or take these decisions and be responsible for what we do, like any business. I guess that's it. Thank you. Happy Forum Life, guys.
It's been wonderful listening to you, because 16 years of forum experience all packaged into this 30 minutes. It's been incredible and also quite an exhaustive experience. It's not just a myopic experience or a view. Boman is somebody who dabbles across industries, not just real estate, automobiles, manufacturing, and so on and so forth, and education, and still has the time for social commitments and as forum. So truly, truly grateful to you. Thank you for the support, and really, really appreciate any kind of suggestions that you may have. Yeah, come.
I think it's a wonderful task that you've taken up, and I'm always there for you, Karan.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our amazing guest speaker today.